I wanted to share 6 stories with you that you can be on the lookout for today that have come from the last 24 hours, but also without the sort of thundering negativity that so many other people seem to be so fond of, I swear. I mean, bless their hearts, but if I read one more tweet from one of the boys that says Europe is finished, or Western Europe is finished, or it's over, or I'm out. I'm out, they say, in a huff after they've had one too many whiskies, and then the next day they're back. You know, I appreciate things are tough, but truly the way we get through this is not by sitting amongst the darkness talking about the fact that it's over, or I'm done, or we're through. The way we get through this is by talking through it together, finding the funsies together, and also preparing ourselves for the inevitable, which is a massive clash. People versus the government, but that's for another day. One of the stories I really wanted to talk about is Ireland. So you'll know I'm not Irish, forgive me for not having the detail that many of you have, and there'll be expert sites you can look at for this. But on Friday there's a referendum in Ireland on the constitution. Immediate red flag for me, because if anybody messes with the constitution, for me it's an immediate wait, why? Something that was written so long ago and has worked so well for so long very rarely needs amending or altering. And the reason I have this belief is because I believe the American Constitution is the greatest single document ever written. And Americans' intrinsic faith in the Constitution, such that they carry it in their pockets as a permit of their right to have their freedoms that are God-given, is why I believe that. So Friday, constitutional amendment, and essentially Irish people are being sold a lie. So it's being delivered as if it's a bowl of sweets. Oh, look at these bowl of sweets. Would you like one? Look, this is going to be great. It stops women being called being restricted to the house, and that's so antiquated, and we need to move forward, and real women want to be progressive and feminists, and therefore we need to get rid of this old language. That's a lie. That's a lie. It's a trick. It's a sleight of hand. It's a magician tricking you. What they're trying to do is eradicate, and this is a step-by-step process. They want to eradicate the word woman and therefore women. They want to remove constitutional protections afforded to a mother that says that she should have every right to be the one that cares for her child, and she should not be financially burdened and therefore forced away from caring for her child. It wants to remove those protections for women, and then it wants to go further and dissolve and dilute language around women so that people who give birth become exactly that you aren't a mother, you're just a carer, and that anyone can be a carer, and any carer can be married to any other carer, whatever. Irish people, strong women, should be voting no. And clearly, I'm not an English person telling Irish people what to do. I'm saying that all of the red flags go up within 30 seconds of reading even a top level thing of this, because you can see the lie, you can see what they're trying to do, and this pushes forward with the eradication of women in every sense. That. The other story, and it has a similar kind of slant to it, is the whole warfare going on between India Willoughby and JKRowling. India Willoughby, if you don't know, is some sort of, she's always chasing noise, clicks, sounds. You could argue that I do that. That's fine, I'll take that, whatever, it doesn't matter. Criticism is fine. If you put yourself out there, you've got to suck it up. India Willoughby was born a man. Fact. JKRowling has pointed out that India Willoughby was born a man. Fact. India Willoughby has reported JKRowling to the police for hate speech and believes she'll be arrested. But of course, when truth becomes hate speech, then speaking facts is an arrestable event. And I know that better than most because I have been a victim of all of that. I don't describe myself as a victim, but I'm arrested on the basis of hate speech. Never been prosecuted. So India is basically still kind of going to war with JKRowling. She enjoys the attention from it. She enjoys the kind of clicks she gets from it. And at this point, I think JKRowling absolutely has a case for harassment because of India Willoughby's behaviour. And also, India kind of has not looked into the detail of the thing, which there is now precedent. that says there is no requirement for J.K. Rowling to believe India Willoughby is a woman. Oops, so sorry. I got muddled. It's so tricky these days. And I think the most important thing of all, and the thing that kind of I resonate with, which is I'm thrilled, as you may know, you can be whatever you want to be. You can identify as a bat. I will give you somewhere to hang. You can, I meant that in a non-malicious way. You can identify as a standard lamp. I will stick a light bulb up your ass. Do you know what I mean? Also meant in a non-malicious way. But just don't ask me to believe the shit that you believe. It's as easy as and as simple as that, and I think that's similar to J.K. Rowling, but I don't speak for her quite clearly. Another story that I think is important, and we'll get over, well, there's two. One will get overlooked, which is constitutional carry in the USA. It's nowhere. It's in none of the media. No one's talking about it. You can only find it in like Epoch Times or whatever. So state by state, allowing people to carry their weapons without having to go for a permit. Now, when I say allowing, that is a misuse of words that Americans here will pick me up on. Much better that I say states affirming an individual's freedom to carry a weapon. Because Americans believe constitutionally and by all that is written and documented, these freedoms are instilled in them by God and enshrined in the Constitution. It is their constitutional, God-given right to carry, and therefore they only need a constitution as a permit. And the great news that you're not being told, 27 states so far have constitutional carry, and Louisiana, I think they're literally in discussions as I make this video, South Carolina, and there is a hope, if you're me, an ambition that possibly as many as 30 states could be constitutional carry in 2024. And you may not like guns, you might not understand them, you might not be trained on them. Please go and get training. You might disagree with everything I've just said, but I'll just say my opinion and you can disagree, which is that if you look at the state of Western Europe and how close we are to a rising up between people against government, that's when you realise, and why I've spent a decade on the road in America reminding Americans that the First Amendment, Second Amendment, the greatest thing ever. And it's why I can never be too enthusiastic about the Constitution, Second Amendment, and American patriots. I love them. Patriots. Tomato. I wanted to say that. I wanted to tell you about a crazy story that I'm not going to spend too much time on because it's sort of clickbaity, it's tired already, all of the typical people have jumped on it. It was a deliberate thing, I think. The Chancellor did a budget in the UK. It came out, one of the very first things he announced at a time when there's so much tension in the UK. You've got the pro-Hamas people demonstrating in the streets, you've got Jewish people who don't feel safe, you've got tensions like we've never seen before. We've got a politician who's come out and said that I'm standing for Muslims. You've got people who are pro-Gaza deciding a vote in a town in the UK, Rochdale. Jeremy Hunt comes out and says £1 million of taxpayers' money is going to build a memorial to Muslims who fought in World War I and World War II. Like I say, I'm not going to even go into this because it's absolutely just done to goad people, to increase tensions, to increase divisiveness. It's meant to throw a little bit of red meat at the Muslim Council as a sort of a, oh look, we're all this one shared culture, what better way to show it than build a war memorial? And people are kind of coasting on the outrage because that's an easy way to get views. I really don't want to be part of any of that. It's tiresome. What I'll say to Jeremy Hunt, the Chancellor, is if you're trying to goad people into some sort of civil uprising, don't be afraid, my dear. It's coming, but we'll be doing it on our time, not when some spindly little man who's a pen pusher and a bureaucrat tries to meddle with us and make it so. The second point I wanted to make, which is much more eloquent and far more relevant, is that Birmingham City Council spent £25,000 on a statue, a sculpture of what I'm assuming is a woman, but you can't tell, in a headscarf of some description. A hijab. That Birmingham Council have now gone bankrupt, having to cut services, can't afford to mend the roads, can't afford to put the lights on, and can't afford to do basic things like feed children. The only advantage with bankrupting a council, well, it's done stupid things like build sculptures, is that because the lights can't go on anymore because they're bankrupt, no one will be able to see the effing sculpture anyway. Life does have a way of working out, doesn't it? And the final story I just wanted to say, mostly in a celebratory way, also because I love Marjorie Taylor Greene and know her personally, and I've spent time with her in the past, just after January the 6th actually, where I thanked her so much for all that she does and her bravery. And I know at some level of the isolation and the loneliness that she has been exposed to and part of, being cast out, ostracised, trying to go to work where you're hated. I mean, no one really gets it, but it's brutal. It doesn't matter how big and ballsy and tough you are. So anyway, Marjorie Taylor Greene goes to an event, doing a great job, celebration, Super Tuesday, Trump nailing it, amazing. And what happens? One of our pathetic British journalists, Emily Maitlis, tries to goad her. So it's a disingenuous line of questioning. There's no real questioning. Emily Maitlis just wants her clickbait, which she now's got, and starts talking about Jewish space lasers or whatever. It doesn't matter. Emily wanted her little moment and she got it. And Marjorie Taylor Greene rather brilliantly told her to F off. And I've just got so much time for that. Because, you know, I always say, oh, ignore people, don't film them, don't give them their moment, blah, blah, blah. But sometimes you just need to hit it. You know what I mean? You just need to say it. Do you know what? Would you mind just fucking off? And just for the record, you know, for when Marjorie catches up, Emily Maitlis, as you may know, she's a show pony. She spends most of her time flicking her mane. She thinks she's super hot. You know, she's one of those people that she kind of knows she's super sexy. So she wears like a thigh-high boot whilst pretending to be very intelligent indeed. But essentially, she'll jump, you know, for anyone, pony analogy, if you promote her hard enough. So thank you so much to Marjorie Taylor Greene, not really just for that, but for what you endure and what you put yourself through and what you take home privately that you have to deal with in order to come back being Marjorie Taylor Greene the next day. I get a little bit of it, and I do understand. And so that's it, I think, although I do have a minor pocket rant that I'd like to have a go at. Nikki Haley just dropped from the race. When I say race, she was way back at the start line, and she says that her voters, you know, Trump will have to work hard to win them. Nikki, love. The choice as faced by the American electorate, if we kind of put aside massive electoral fraud, which is a whole other thing in itself, is between an elderly man who's on unsupervised day release from the hospice care where he should be, who has done dodgy deals for his son, doesn't know where he is, and spent quite a lot of time smelling children. So I'm just going to say, in a battle between the soul of America and an unsupervised day release from hospice and an 82-year-old with pissy pants, you know, I'm not sure where you see the choice, but well done, Nikki, for having the last word. Well done. Okay, there you go, guys. I hope that was in some way a little lighter and brighter than what the rest of the angry lot are telling you. It's not finished until the fat lady sings. And I've done it before, and if I have to, I'll make myself fat again so that it's me that's doing the singing.